want to say a special welcome on this special edition of Focus on Liberia. Our topic tonight on this special edition is the Community of Hope Agricultural Project. We're going to be discussing about rice.
Yeah.
The chew. Our guest tonight is the director of the Community of Hope Agriculture Project, Pastor Robert Bimba. Pastor, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much that we can be here together and have this time together.
Right. And Pastor Bimba is from Liberia. He's visiting currently right now. He's in the state of New Jersey, there where we are connecting from. So once more, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome to the United States, the greatest country on earth.
So yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure and honor to be here. I mean, I'm very grateful and to be here and doing rice business and doing the work of God.
And if you are just joining us, welcome. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is a special edition of Focus on Liberia, focusing on Liberian rice.
Yeah.
Our guest once again is Mr. Robert Bimba. Mr. Bimba is a pastor and also the guy who is making this rice farm. He's a Liberian, he says, whose faith and convictions intersects with social responsibility and meeting human needs in keeping with scripture. Yeah. He's married to Mrs. Lucia Bimba, and they are blessed with 4 kids. That's favor, faith, flourish, and fruitful. Yeah. That would be Sia. He's the senior pastor of the Abide in Divine Fellowship, Liberia and Guinea, the executive director of CHAP, that's the Community of Hope Agricultural Project. He's board member of Live Water Liberia, a focal point of SRI Rice Liberia, and trainer of trainers. He's the founder of the Destined for Greatness, an international platform for reaching church leaders and pastors in Liberia. He served as the head of the Rice Sector Technical Working Group under the Ministry of Agriculture, Republic of Liberia. He worked closely with SRI Rice from Cornell University. He has a Bachelor of Theology degree in 2008 from the John Evans Theological Seminary. Presently, he's studying public administration at the AME University. He has a diploma in masonry in 1988 from Gegedu Technical Educational Center, that's in Guinea, that's the forest region. Certificate in agricultural financing and mechanization from Japan. He also has a certificate in quality breeder and foundation seed at IRRI, that's the International Rice Research Institute in the Philippines. He also has a certificate in market information system from Nairobi, Kenya, and a certificate in system of rice intensification in Togo. Once again, Pastor, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's a joy to be here this evening to talk the issue we got to talk and how we can move things forward.
All right. And there's a lot of rice in your introduction. All about you. Why you love rice so much?
I love rice because, I mean, rice is life, and rice is something that God has given to mankind, and is our staple. Back in Liberia, that's what we eat. We eat rice throughout the day. I mean, rice is good. Rice is life.
All right. So now let's talk about the Community of Hope Agricultural Project. What is it?
Yep. So thank you so much. The Community of Hope Agricultural Project, CHAP for short, is a Liberian-owned initiative established since 2008 by my father, the Apostle James Bimba. And they have been working since 2008 up to current. We have been working in urban and rural areas trying to improve on the livelihood of the rural poor. And we have focused all of our energy championing the cause of the urban peri agriculture program. We introduced that in 2010 and growing vegetables in cities, in urban cities. And we also moved from that point, and we have been on the rice cultivation across the country in Liberia, almost in every county we have gone, very few counties we haven't reached. And our whole focus is like fighting hunger for sustainable peace. So we have an office based in Zubata Dupo Road. We have professional staff who are Liberians. I mean, nobody can do it better than Liberians themselves. And we work with a agro scheme with almost like 5,000 farmers across the 8 counties. And we have a board. We have implemented several projects for development partners, including the Ministry of Agriculture, the World Bank, the Japanese government, and IFAD. So this is who CHAP is, if you ask about CHAP. And we are the champion behind the I Love Liberian Rice campaign, trying to make sure that Liberians grow their own food, because we strongly believe our suffering is not justifiable. And we can be inputting everything, and most especially rice. We have the capacity to grow rice in our country.
So how you got started with CHAP? What was the point, at which point you decided, okay, we're going to start this project?
So the need, I mean, it came out as a result of the need. So there was in response to the human need in the country, in our community, we decided, hey, we can keep buying everything. Can we start to make use of wasteland? So in Zubatan, where we have our office, there's a big wasteland up to 40 hectares of lowland. And we say, can we turn this wasteland into a productive land? I mean, no job. I mean, we all have left. People have fled the war, go back to Monrovia. Urbanization has increased. I mean, you can get jobs with the government and other institutions. They can we create jobs? So it's out of the sense of meeting the needs of our people, we embark on this endeavor.
When you say wasteland, what does that mean?
The wasteland is what we call lowland, swamp. The swamp is what we call the wasteland, the lowland. So in Monrovia, you get a lot of swamps where people just dump dirt. I mean, it's just abandoned. Nothing is being done with it. It's breeding mosquitoes. And we say, can we breed rice and breed money and breed a new economy by turning wastelands into productive lands?
So do you have to buy that, or how do you get that? Because there's a lot of land issue in Monrovia there. Now you have a wasteland. How you got it?
So we applied to the municipal government, to the Pinsville City Corporation, that since we understood that the swamps and the lowlands, according to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, that they were lands that were not owned by anybody, though people still try to claim the ownership. So they gave us access to use this land. And from there, we start to grow. People start to see what we're doing with the wasteland. And we start to put some irrigation things into that place. And so we got it by just applying to the Pinsville City Corporation.
In simple terms, when somebody asks you, what does CHAP do? What will you tell them?
So what CHAP does, CHAP is in the business of growing food. We are in the business of growing food, I mean, rice and vegetables. We are in the business of training farmers. We work with farmers. In simple terms, we work with the farmers, and then we also provide advisory service, extension service. And we also do the marketing, promoting the I Love Liberian Rice.
Where do you operate? I know you named some, you said 8 counties. And
so
specifically, what do you do in those counties?
So we operate in Nimba County, in Lofa County, in Bong, in Nimba. We operate in Margibi, we in Grand Cape Mount, we in Mosorado, in Bassar, and in Grand Jide. So what we are doing right there at the moment is working through the agro scheme through farmers. And the way we're doing it, we're providing seeds, we're providing improved seeds. We have done the distribution. I think you may have seen that on our page. We distributed seeds to the farmers because planting material matters. If you don't have good planting materials, you can get good grain. So we also provide that, and then we provide training to them. And then we also try to come in to buy the rice from the farmers and then mill that rice and put the rest back on the market.
How long does that take?
How long it takes to do what? Which one of them?
Yes, you give seeds to the farmers. They produce the crops. You go and buy the crop from them. That entire process and put that rice on the market.
So the whole cycle will take you like 3 months. Both from distribution, production, harvest, and milling, you can get into 3 months.
3 months. That's relatively short.
Oh yeah, the variety that we are using right now, and with the system and innovation, it reduces the cycle of the rice. That you can have it earlier than going through the normal 10 traditional month, 10 months waiting for rice to get ready. So I mean, that's the opportunity of the innovation.
What are some of the rice varieties that you produce?
So what we are right now, we on with the Narika L19. The Narika L19 is this rice you see right here, the Narika L19. So the Narika L19, it was bred by Africa Rice. Then we also have the Swakoko 8, which is our traditional rice in Liberia. Swakoko 8 was bred during the Wada days. And then we also are using a new one we brought in called Bada is BTH 3 is the black rice. So that's the 3 varieties we are working on, and we're trying to improve on that.
And all those varieties take like 3 months.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I was born in the interior, and we waited all year round before we can harvest.
Yeah, things have changed, man. Things have changed with the new technology. If people are waiting for 10 months rest, the whole world will be hungry. I mean, innovation have made it that you can get it grown in 3 times in a year. If you get everything, all your acts together, you can do that.
Besides rice, what else do you grow?
So we grow vegetables. So we're involved with vegetables. I mean, specifically corn, okra, and we are also with the eggplant. That is what we are involved with, and we also like starting up the dairy farm. You might have seen the article on the dairy farm. We've been working this since 3 years. So these are the other 3 areas that we are exploring, but the paramount one is the rice that we really pushing forth and then getting that. So vegetables and then with the dairy farm.
If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the Community of Hope Agriculture Project. Our guest is Pastor Robert Bimba. He's the executive director of this project, and they are producing rice and vegetables, training farmers, and the rest of it. Let's go back to the structure of CHAP. Who is involved, and if you have any support from outside? First, let's discuss the organizational structure.
So we have a board of directors we have a board of directors comprising about 9 persons that on the board from different sectors, from different backgrounds. And they are Liberians, and some we have them, they are other people, but that's the upper part. And then we have a management team. And then within the management team where I work, we also have a different department, the area of finance. We have people on the technical, the extension, we have people on the marketing, and we have people that works with programs. So then we have our agro scheme. So that is the structure that we have at the moment at the Community of Hope Agriculture Project.
Do you get support from anywhere?
Yeah, we have been supported. So again, it's an initiative that was initiated by us. So it's not like somebody said, go do something. No, it came from within, and that's what we are saying in most of my articles, that for any initiative to be sustainable, it must be initiated by the people. So yes, we get support from the government of Liberia. We are grateful to the government, the past and present government. They are provided from IFA, the International Fund for Agricultural Development. The Japanese government have been very supportive of what we have done. They have trained me, so I'm giving back. I mean, they have been like supportive of what I'm doing, stepping down the technology. We also got support from Cornell University in Ethical. They have been giving us technical support, and the Abide in the Vine Fellowship in Owego has been very supportive of our actions, along with the World Bank. We have done some program for the World Bank.
What is your working relationship with the government of Liberia, and what specifically the support that you get from the GOL under the Ministry of Agriculture?
So at the moment, our relationship is good. The Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Magama Fulmo, and his team have been, we work closely on the rice technical team, and we are involved in all of the designs and consultation when it comes to rice issues in the country. Not only that, we were recommended to serve as an implementing partner from the Ministry of Agriculture. So when the donors were looking for people to recommend, it was the Ministry of Agriculture that recommended us to serve and to do what we are doing in some of those programs.
How do you sustain this program, or how is it sustained?
There where we are now. So in terms of the sustainability plan, that's why we have brought in the rice investment scheme for empowerment. And we are moving from just doing the charity issue to a corporation where we can do the business component. And when I say that, I mean that the way we have worked over the years and doing the analysis is not sustainable, because you have to wait for donor fund, and donor fund got their own time and they got their own objective, and sometimes it's late. So we have decided, we have resolved along with the board and say that let's try to raise our own resources. Let's try to access loans, soft loans, and mobilize resources that we can be able to do the farming in a sustainable way and reinvest. So what we are doing right now is trying to pull up a revolving fund that we reinvest. So we get money, we reinvest. So we have sustained ourselves over the years, that whatever little we get over here, we reinvested it. That will have kept us since 2008 up to present. So we have been reinvesting, because you have to reinvest, grow it, and get it done to make sure we go to where we want to go.
So in total, how many farmers have you trained? How many hectares of land do you cultivate in total? How would you say since 2008?
So since 2008, in our data, we have trained up to 10,000 smallholder farmers across the country. Yeah, that we'll work with. That is within the Southeast. That is also in the North and Central. We have worked with these farmers. And we have also trained NGO workers, the Ministry of Agriculture Extension workers as well, in different aspects. We have trained them in that aspect of it, in the SRI. We have trained them in the AgGIS, collecting data, because they where we also are. So we have worked in terms of that. These are the number of people we have trained.
And your acreage when it comes to land that you cultivate?
Oh, so just the project we just ended was like 1,800 hectares of lowland, and now we are moving to another 1,000. So in total, it will be going to like 3,000 hectares. So if you do about 2.5, you will get the total number of acres from the 3,000 hectares across the country that we work with different actors.
Do you only do lowlands, or?
We work on the upland very little. Our emphasis on the lowland, because with the lowland there is an optimum yield, and you can do up to 2-time cropping cycle. So we are pushing the farmers and challenging people to go, and which is a policy from the government. So we are buttressing national government policy about saving the forest and stop the movement of the shifting cultivation, and showing them the potential that is in the lowlands. I mean, Liberia lowlands got so much potential that if it's well developed and irrigated, we can do 3 times cropping in a year. So we work with upland farmers, but our emphasis is more with the lowland farmers when it comes to rice.
That will pose some form of restriction as to where you can operate.
No, it does not put restrictions. So we do the encouragement. It does not put restrictions. So people who are on the upland, because some people just, it's only upland that is available. So we work with them. But like I say to you, priority, we keep encouraging them to see reason to go into the lowlands, because there is a big opportunity for them into it.
Are you able to create that too, maybe through irrigation, to get highland and make that into lowland?
Oh, I mean, the uplands are uplands, all right, and that will require a lot of work and a lot of resources to get the upland to become a lowland. So we already got existing lowland, so we don't need to create another one. So we just need to encourage them to say, hey, here's another one that is available here that you can make use of. If you went to the Southeast Grand G there, you went to River G, Caricam area, I mean, there's big, vast lowlands there that have been developed by development partners. We encourage the farmers to take advantage of those existing lowlands.
Some of these lands are not swamp, they may be low.
But yeah, they may be low. Some of them, they are rainfall. And yeah, some of them, they are rainfall areas. But once you have a rainfall area, and some of them are swamps, some of them are just what you have, but you can work with them.
All right, I have a video here. Let me play for some of your work. if I can find it.
Great.
So that our people will see.
This is in support of economic recovery. That we strongly
If I can get it.
that the best way to solve the economy in this country is to solve the economic problem.
Uh,
To go back to agriculture.
all right. While we look for that video,
Yeah.
Let's talk about your. I love. First of all, it may sound obvious, but why do you think we need to grow our own food?
Good question. We need to grow our own food because it helps us to feed ourselves. It saves us from eating food that is imported. If we don't grow our own food, we suffer from the foreign exchange that we have right now with the high US rate. The Liberty at $200 for $1. It's all as a result because we're not growing our own food. And while we ought to also grow our own food, it provides jobs, because by growing our own food, we create jobs. Another reason is when we grow our own food has a nutritional value, which is advantageous to the imported rice. So again, growing our own food, it makes a whole lot of difference. I mean, it dignifies us as a nation, as a people, that we're not just heavily dependent on imported food. So that is why we need to grow our own food for foreign exchange. Our foreign exchange will get better, it will get stronger and weightier, because the money we spend, you have the records up to more than $200 million is spent annually just on rice importation in Liberia. It may go above that number, $217 million just on rice, not on other commodities. And can you imagine that money, we can keep that money in our country by just growing our own food.
I think I have the video now. Let me play it.
This is in support of economic recovery, because we strongly believe at this place that the best way to solve the economy in this country, to solve the economic problems, is to grow your own food, to go back to agriculture. And we are very grateful that God has blessed us with good soil, blessed us with skills and talents and knowledge. So this is what we are doing here, right behind, not too far from His Excellency, Honorable George. We are residents just within the Zubatown community, not far from LBS. You can see what is going on. It's about 40 hectares of lowland. You can see right all over the field. You see harvest is going on today. It's our big harvest. As we harvest, we're going to start to plant. So our commitment is to grow food. So we are just calling on the government and calling on the donors to see how we can support these kind of initiatives, which providing job creation, not only job creation, but economic growth. So you can see, as far as I can see right now, we have tons of rice. Our ag growers are calling us to buy rice from them, but we don't have the capital to buy rice. So we got rice here. You see the finished product. We think this is the way Liberia should go. This is the best way to celebrate this Christmas this year. Picnic in the field, seeing what Nigerians can do. Take the politics from this whole thing. Let us be real to ourselves and truthful to ourselves. This is the solution to Nigeria problem. And we from the community of Hope Agriculture Project shall say, bravo. We say Merry Christmas to the government. Merry Christmas to the Liberian farmers. But most importantly, we need your support to continue to produce food and to continue to put this place on a cultivation.
That's a message.
Yeah.
You strike a very important point about politics.
Yeah.
Politics and rice. That has been a very touchy subject in Liberian history.
Yeah.
So what is it that you discover that others have not been able to see, for which your emphasis is on rice production and not politics?
What I've discovered is that once we can, once we grab it as a people, that this is one of the contributing factor to some of the crisis. And once we can deal with the root of some of our problems, then we will forge ahead as a nation, as a people. And the way to do it is to go back to the source and value what God has given to us. And I strongly believe that we are too blessed and we should not be suffering the way we're suffering. Our suffering, I personally believe, is not justifiable because God has given us so much and we are not making use of it the way we ought to use it. Or maybe, again, we have just lacked the technical and some of the innovation, which we now have. So I just strongly believe that we can grow our own food. We have tried it, it's working. And we need to just think outside the box and start to value what we have, because that has been the challenge. We haven't really valued what we have as a people, as a nation, as Liberians. I mean, and we're always looking out to people. And I strongly believe God has given us something that is the sword. And our sword is good. It's good for feeding us. It's good for growing our economy. And that is why we strongly believe at CHAP that we must do everything we can to grow our own food and make use of the sword.
Once again, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the Community of Hope Agriculture Project, that's CHAP, producing rice, training farmers, and doing a whole lot of things for sustainable development. If you want to join the discussion, you can post your question or comments on Facebook, or you can call us. The number is 706-684-0392. Once again, there were some words in your things like SRI, WAST, and all those things. Can you explain to us what is this rice intensification and things like that?
So the system of rice, the SRI is a system of rice intensification. It was developed in 2000 in Madagascar by a juice priest. And some technical people went in and took upon it, and Cornell University, the SRI rice, Cornell University took upon that and developed it and began to talk about it. And it's all about, it's an agroecological approach. So where you plant less and get more. So where you used to traditionally in Liberia, we use up to like 35 kilograms of seeds for 1 hectare. Some people even go like 50 kg for 1 hectare. So with this new innovation, you save on seeds. So right now we are using like 10 kilograms of seeds is what we use to cultivate 1 hectare of land. And another thing about the SRI, it teaches you how to plant in rows. It talks about alternative wetting and drying. So you bring water when you need water and you keep water out when you don't need the water. And that way you can maximize. And you do frequent weeding. So you see that we do about frequent weeding because weeds affects the yields. So if you don't get rid of the weeds, you will not have good yields and you will lose on your money. So it teaches us on that. And then the yields are higher. The grains are more heavier than the conventional. And that has been working so well. And I've been championing it in Liberia. I introduced it in 2012 and it was scaled up. The Ministry of Agriculture saw it and they asked us to train the extension officers and technical people on it in 2013. We did that under the World Bank program. And you won't believe it. Many farmers right now, I mean, around the world, there are testimonies, but I want to talk about our testimony from our country about the yields that we get. You get up to 4 metric tons from 1 hectare in Grand Jide. We reported from Edward Song. Edward Song is a farmer in Grand Jide. He got up to 8 metric tons from 1 hectare.
How many bags of rice is that?
I like that. So one, it depends the size now. So 20 bags from 1 ton. So if that is like you're doing 50 kg, so you get 20 bags from 1 ton, 50 kg. 50 kg is your 100 pounds. So you will get 100 pounds from 1 ton if at that level. So if you get 4 ton, so you just think about 20 times 4, so it's like what 80 bags of 100 pounds. So I mean that is a lot for I mean any farmer. You make money if you get that. You can sell some, and then you keep some for seeds, and then you can, when you sell some, you can pay your children's school fees, put a little roof over your head, and that has been the challenge over the years. The yields have been low, and once your yields are low, you can't have a break even. But I mean it's one aspect, so that's it.
That's a good to. So yeah, and that was where my question was going as to the result you are getting from farmers because you are training them.
Yeah.
So how do you measure that you are having success with this training the farmers and the kind of training you are providing and the seeds distribution?
I mean, it's visible. I mean, the records, I mean, you go online, you see it. If you go on Cornell website, you see it from Liberia, what has happened. Since 2012, we introduced the SRI in Liberia. I mean, right now, many of the farmers have taken ownership. So the thing about the SRI, the farmer is not like somebody being more important, but it makes everybody important. It encourages group work and not working by yourself. It encourages cooperative, it encourages farming groups working together because you can do it by yourself. And another thing about the SRI, the use. I mean, so when you bring it to the farmer, they say they think can work. The librarian will show they think can work. I've been using 50 and one bag of rest to play in the whole place. You say I'm gonna use 10 kilo. And then when they see it, they're like, wow, I prefer using this one. I've been wasting seeds, I've been wasting time. I will work with this method. But it's the you that everyone has been really encouraged with because the rest is so plenty. And everybody want plenty rest. Nobody want less rest. When the rest plenty, at least you can rest assured that you and your kids got something. And we have been documenting every aspect of our interventions across the country, and it has proven successful and also is sustainable. Any outside thing, you can use local resources to do the SRI.
One of the things issue farmers face over years has been the tools. Have you introduced some tools that can make things faster, maybe weeding for like rest meal and all this kind of thing?
Yes. So having worked, I want to be grateful to the government of Japan. I mean, they have really helped us, and I want to be grateful to the Biden Divine Fellowship in Owego, where Bishop Fred Hoover is. So we start to talk about this thing about how do we move from subsistence farming to mechanized farming. But again, mechanization does not mean you bring BB things in because you have to grow people from one level to another level. So we introduced small machines, walk behind machines, and they are proving very successful. And this is the model that we introduced, giving people things free. Free things don't work. Free things just create another problem. So we put machines in the places and they are being rented. People can rent it, but it's available. So it make it convenience. In America, you guys got a lot of things called convenience, and you know no different utensil, you get it when. So how can the farmers access a machine to plow their field when they need it? So we get them in certain radar. So we introduced someone walk beyond machine called the BCS rotary tailors, and they have implements for turning the swamp, turning the soil. It got something there to also brush. You won't believe it right now. I think that's the first of its kind in the country. It brush your area once there's not big storms and rocks there. It can brush the area for you. And then we introduced the weeders. If you do the farming analysis in Liberia, almost like 60% of the farming work is done by women. And I mean, it is backbreaking. Weeding breaks the people back. I mean, it takes so much from our women. And in this 21st century, we have to go from that point. So we introduce weeders that they can use. They don't have to really break their backs or hurt their backs more, but now they can use those weeders, and those weeders have helped. So we're moving again from that other manual weeder to a mechanical weeder that will help to enhance. And the weeding is so good. So we brought in those technology. Right now, there are other rice farmers that have brought in different rice mills in the country. We welcome the integrated rice mill, but you also need one because we don't have a sustainable energy at the moment. We thank God for the West African pool that is coming in and other issues, but while they are coming in, what do we do? So we have smaller rice mills that people can keep milling their rice and to be able to sustain themselves.
Let me play another video that I saw, and you tell me what is going on there.
With the introduction of the system of rice intensification, SRI, and BCS 7G2GX11 grass cutter and rotary tiller.
When you look at a system that just made us, sometimes we used to put sometimes 3 bags on the nursery or sometimes 2.5. And this particular news that are coming, we just put it sometimes like 4 pen on the nursery or 4, 5 pen just like that.
Send a training came last year for me or in February. Trial for a many prophet is going to say, I'm not even get a son. The book and yet to four people. I have put a 6 million nursery, they show how to put it. They are there, how to loosen the sun, how to wash it, and spring on the bed. They were looking funny. When the rest had to grow, we have got to know what they're learning.
With the Japanese rice grant through the International Fund for Agricultural Development and the Ministry of Agriculture,
we are actually brought in CHAP on board, leaning on CHAP work with one of the projects under the Ministry of Agriculture at the PMU. CHAP had worked with a World Bank project called WAP, and we saw the level of work they did there. So when this grant came about, we decided that the SRI method, which we have seen working very well under that project, we could also further that aspect of it and see what benefit our farmers could get.
When CHAP first came to introduce this method here, it was very strange to our farmers in Korea here. But later on, farmers saw the need from other farmers' farms, and that's how they were encouraged, they were motivated, but seeing to it that to adapt to the new methods of producing golden rice.
Just briefly go over what we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, that is just confirmation of what we have been talking, with the work in the field, hearing from the beneficiaries on the impact of the system of rice intensification in Liberia, and how it has helped save farmers. Farmers have saved money from purchasing bulk seeds. It have saved time. You see the introduction of the machines. I mean, it speaks volume. I mean, it's encouraging people to keep growing their own food and to keep making use of the available resources. And it also speaks about the government involvement in supporting agriculture, because that's the bedrock, that's the engine. But what I always tell people is, if there's no oil in the engine don't move, it don't work. And the oil that drives it is the funds. But I mean, every time I see this, I'm reminded that we are going somewhere and the wheels are turning, and with time I strongly believe that we will reach to that place of self-sufficiency.
Let's talk about the funding. First of all, I have posted your website, which is chapliberia.org. And
yes,
I want you to click on that link and read more about this. You also have, and I see that behind you, the I Love Liberian Rice campaign.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that campaign. I Love Liberian Rice.
And I mean, you are one of the campaign managers. So the campaign is run by Liberians, all right? Every Liberian is a campaign manager supporting. So the I Love Liberian Rice came about when we did this Japanese rice grant. And the need for marketing came up. Now, if you teach people how to increase yields, and the yields increase and you can't buy their rice, that is another disaster. So now people growing the rice, they're using the innovation, yields are increasing, but no one to buy their rice. So we got the idea about creating a marketing platform called the I Love Liberian Rice. And I make it I love you. You don't find this anywhere in the world that I know of. This is very unique about Liberia. Is to put ownership, to take ownership. Because for a long time, we have been wired, we have been told not to believe in what we have. So, and I make everybody to understand there is no rice that is as good as the Liberian rice. The Liberian rice is the best rice. I mean, it's the best rice. I eat Liberian rice. I mean, my father, my family, I mean, Liberian rice is the best rice. So the I Love Liberian Rice campaign, we said, now that we are on this drive, we need to help the government. Oh my gosh, Joel, we lost the jingle.
No, go ahead.
All right, we need to help the government to get these things done. So the way things have been done over the years, they are all been donor driven, and most often we appreciate the donors, but we as citizens need to take ownership of our own destiny. And the way to take ownership is to put our own money into it. Because when we put our own money into things, we'll value it, we'll take it to the next level. So we say, can we ask every Liberian to give $1 minimum, which is 200 Liberty? And the purpose of that was to make sure that we have a seed fund, a revolving fund that can be used to purchase rice from the farmers continuously, and that they don't need to say, oh, the other donor, the other project closed. No, business is continuous. People eat every day. So we need to make it that way. And then second is to make sure that we can be able to purchase equipments. I mean, small, efficient equipment. We don't want to bring in big things, small ones, but they are very efficient, cost effective, that will enhance the productivity along the entire rice value chain. So, and we don't have the money. There is no bank in Liberia that is giving agricultural financing. And agricultural financing is different from macro financing, because macro financing is what we have right now in the country, and you can use that for agricultural purposes. So, and then nobody want to, I mean, so, and you see the need. So, and the farming is time. So we launched the I Love Liberian Rice campaign, and you can see it as it is. It talks about the new packaging. We bring in the rice in 1 kilogram, 5 kilogram, 10 kilogram, and 25 kilograms.
Let me show that flyer with the I Love Liberian Rice campaign.
Yeah.
If you can read. Go ahead and describe it. Say the campaign goal is to raise $3 million United States dollars.
Yep.
All the things that you have to do there.
To cultivate 1,000 hectares. So 1,000 hectares will give us 6,000 metric tons of meal rice in 1 year, and will provide 5,000 jobs, which is very good, and it can go forward it can increase. It will improve the food security and the nutrition aspect. It will increase smallholder farmers' income, which is very much important. And it will build more sustainable rice-based agriculture. It will improve the livelihood of smallholder farmers in the country, in the specific counties, Nima, Bong, Grand Jide, Grand Cape Mount, and Bomi. And that is why we're happy with this campaign.
Oh, all right. And let me show that part that talk about the 1 kg, 5 kg.
Yeah, you got it. So you see, and the reason there is part of the marketing strategy is because the purchasing power of the people cannot reach to the 50-pound bag. So many people buy every day. They buy for today, we eat, we go buy, and buy tomorrow. So that's why we introduce something like that. We're still working on our package, and we got to appreciate what God has given to us. It may not look the way the other ones look, but we're on the road to success, on the way to victory. So you see it as I'm displaying it. So it's like you get them there, 1 kilogram, people can afford to purchase it, the 5 kilogram, the 10. So that is there where we are taking the whole process and to make it more sustainable. And the only way we can, until all of us, like what you are doing now, we are all here together talking this. We need to promote our own initiative, rally around each other, and make sure that we grow our own food. In this 21st century, if there is another 2008 food crisis, Liberia is vulnerable. If there's another 2008 crisis, I can say that because countries from where we are importing food from, they will want to save food for themselves first before they think about us. And that is why it's hard time that we start to grow our own food and invest in our own soil and take ownership. So that is why the I Love Liberian Rice campaign is about. Got the stickers. Everybody is asked to contribute minimum $1. And with that minimum $1, it's an extra account open at the LBDI that in both Liberty and US dollars, just to support local rice production.
How can people in the United States or in the diaspora contribute to that?
So they have ways to contribute. So one way, we have a PayPal account on our website, and we have another one with our partner in New York. And there is another number in here that you can connect, because other people don't want to go through the whole bottleneck of transferring money to the LBDI account and what have you. So you send it by that means. Other institutions that we met, institutions, they are wiring it through the bank account, because we have to give account for every penny that comes forth and make sure that we do what we have committed ourselves to do.
And what's the number to reach you?
So the number to reach us in the US here or back in Liberia?
Both.
I like that. So for year in the US, the number to reach us is this number 607-972-7218. So that's the number to reach us in the US, 607-972-7218. To reach us in Liberia, we have 077, you got +231 0770-155-844. That's one of the numbers you can reach us in Liberia. Yeah.
One of the things that I was fascinated about that you talked about is you give this food to seeds to the farmers and you buy the rice from them.
Yeah.
And put that rice on the market.
Yeah.
I'm in the US. I want to buy rice and send to my family in Bannersville or in Greenville. How do I do that?
All right. So what you need to do is, so you place in your order and say, all right, chap, I want to be buying. And that's what we are welcoming right now and asking people in the diaspora. You see, when you buy local rice, you are promoting Liberians and you are promoting the economy. When you ship rice out of here to Liberia, it is good, but it is not as good when you support a local grown rice. So you cannot say, I need 10 bags every month for my family. So once you say you need 10 bags every month for your family, we put you in our database and then commit for the delivery that your family can pick up this rice at this point in time. Once you pay the money, we can deliver this rice within the Monrovia area. We cannot deliver it to your family. We're in Grand Judea right now. We're not able to deliver that. But that's something we're working on. Once the production in those counties improve and the processing, we will be able to do that.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
My name is Jacob Weimer, calling from Minnesota.
Jacob, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Your question or comment?
I'm Jacob Weimer, calling from Minnesota.
Jacob, what you do is, if you are watching us on Facebook, please turn that off so we can hear you.
Oh, I should turn off Facebook, right?
Yeah, or you cannot reduce the volume.
Okay, hold on. Okay, thank you, sir. It's off.
All right. Your question or comment?
No, I just want to say thanks to our young brother who just spoke. I'm so impressed. And what you guys are doing is very great. And I just want to acknowledge you. I'm calling from Dwala Market. I have a little store called Dwala Market in Minnesota.
Okay.
If one of the, let's be part of it, or also be a whole salesperson in the United States, how can they go about doing that? Because we want to get our food on the market.
Right. Before you answer that question, this is what we eat here.
Yeah.
You see my fufu? And you see,
what?
No, hold on. And you see my palm butter?
Yeah.
So now, the question is, he's selling in Minnesota Dwala Market.
Yeah.
How can he get Liberian rice to his store in Minnesota?
Good. So what we're going to do, he need to take our number, and then we also take our contact so that we get his number as well. So if he don't call, we call him. But we cannot talk with him on a partnership, a real business partnership in terms of agreement, terms and conditions that says, I need this number of rice every month. And then we see how we can package it and make sure we keep up with that commitment. And he keep up with his commitment with the payment. So that's what we are looking forward for, because that way we have the funds to be able to do it, because the capacity is there to do it. But right now is the funding gap. So if Brother Wa in Minnesota, who runs that Dwala Market, says he wants 1 ton of rice every month, and what size he wants the 1 ton of rice, and he had to be specify it, And then we can now go ahead and begin to work the modality, how we can get that over, because we will be happy to see people eating their own food in the diaspora as well.
Thank you very much. I'm very impressed. The reason why I ask is like, I stand in my store, people come said, they were asked and say, do you have Liberian this? You have this from Liberia, you have palm butter from Liberia. You know what? He said, tell them Liberia only make two things, moen and potter. So I'm so impressed to see this happening. So I believe, because Ghanaians will go to Liberia, Ghanaians will go, Kasauli. So far, they will say, there's Liberian Kasauli. They will put our flag on it. They say Liberian palm butter, and then they don't know how to do it. So you Liberian doing your own thing, and your own people are going to consume it. So it's a very great thing that Liberia great step Liberia taking. So I appreciate that. I'll be in contact with you. And even I will try to send my $1 in your account. And I appreciate what you're doing. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, caller. So yeah, and that was the $1. How can I send my $1 to you now?
So your $1 right now, if you want to send your $1, like I gave you the number. So if you call on that number, you will be directed how to make that donation in the US with your $1.
And that number is 607-972-7218.
Yeah.
We have another caller. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Well, this is Ali Kumar calling from North Carolina.
Ali, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the very informative and educated program. I think if I were to rate your program on Facebook as far as the Liberian community is concerned, I'll give you a 5-star.
Yes, we got 5. Thank you, Ali.
Your program brings to the Liberian people what they need the most. Unfortunately, people are not very drawn to the positive. A lot of people are drawn to the negative, and that's the word over. And that's why, I just cannot be expected to have 1,000 or 2,000 people on your show watching at this particular moment on a program like this. This is a young Liberian entrepreneur sitting over there, not just speaking his ideas like some of us do, but he's actually putting his idea into pragmatism. And I think it's time for us to join hands and help people like these. What we cannot practically do when we see Liberians in the diaspora or in Liberia trying to come up with these, self-sufficient methodology, we should be able to give him a hand. I just wanted to know from him, given that the capacity of production, agricultural or agro-production in Liberia is so low, how does he intend to really maximize this kind of stuff? Because a lot of us here, I got my daughter in Liberia, she's 22, every day she asking for money for food. This will make it easy for me. I can just call, whatever number they have here, and then she goes to get this food. Do you guys have an office in Liberia, in Monrovia, a particular registered address office in Monrovia? And how do you intend to really collect these foodstuffs, this Liberian foodstuff, given that the agro community is so mild or dysfunctional? I also really, really want that number again from the USA. If you can put that number up for us to see, it'll be okay, because I'm not in a position to write right now. At least I can try to memorize it. I really want to be a part of it, not as a stakeholder, but at least as a customer. Thank you so much. I appreciate your bravery to start such a business in Liberia. Other people are doing it, they're Indian, and I like to see a Black man sitting up there trying to do the same thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the number is posted to Facebook. You can check it out under the video.
Okay.
So, Pastor Bimba, you heard the...
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Is that Kamara? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the commendation. So, yes, we do have an office. We've been there since 2008 in the Zubatan, Dupo Road area. There where we have the office and one of our major production sites right in Dupo Road, Zubatan. Bishopula Junction area. When you pass Bishopula Junction, once you ask, you'll see the signboard there, and people can make their way there. In terms of how we going to get this done, yes, what you are saying is a reality, but we have worked in this sector for years, and we have found way around how to solve the issues. So we have the capacity to production. We are there with the production. Right now, the challenge has been to make sure that we continuously purchase the rice from the farmers, that we don't need to keep waiting for the donors project to be approved, because some of it will not be approved, some of it will be approved, and even if it's approved, it's limited. But once we have access to the seed money, we can always buy from this agro scheme that we are working with. And we will also encourage ideas on improving what we are doing from all of you, because that's the only way we succeed as a nation and as a people. I mean, we already know what to be done, but some of you got some good ideas that will buttress what we are already doing, so we don't have to reinvent. So I appreciate it. So the office address is all up there. He will display later. You can see the contact numbers. We're banning it, and we appreciate also, I mean, buying for us. It helps us because then we can grow, we get stronger. But if nobody buying what you produce, it don't help.
One word we normally hear is food security. So from food security, there's also food insecurity.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what does that mean, food security, and how is producing our own food kind of linked to national security?
Oh yeah, this is where we are right now. Like I said to you, if we have a repeat of the 2008 food crisis, we are vulnerable. So what it does, food security, it means, so Liberia still fighting to attain food security. That means growing food to feed yourself, and which is very, very much important, because if you don't have security, you are vulnerable. Anybody can take advantage of you. I mean, even security, what our military eat, I strongly believe that our military should eat Liberian rice and not imported rice. That's my own personal thing on it. And we're trusting God that as we grow up and that the government will buy rice, that we have the capacity to supply the AFL, supply the inmates. Why should prisoners eat imported rice when we have local rice that can be grown and we serve them? So, but we're working on those issues. So food security is important to the livelihood, to the stability of the nation. Because if you don't have food, I mean, you're going to have crisis. I mean, people are what they are. People do what they do because they're hungry. When people get hungry, they get fussy and a lot of things go on. You expect, I mean, that is it. So once we can get to food security, it means that we got food to feed ourselves. There where it takes you, but so food security is about feeding yourself, getting food to feed yourself, growing food to feed yourself. And there where Liberia has to reach, and we are strongly hopeful Liberia will get to that area of food and go beyond food security by exporting and reaching out to the other nations.
Again, I want to show this again. I don't know when you're going to send us fufu. When are you going to send us palm butter? Because I don't know. I was in Ghana for some years. I never saw any Ghanaian cooking palm butter, but they are selling palm butter to me.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, we that's part of what we work on, but the cassava, I mean, you process out of the cassava. So the cassava will give you a lot. I mean, the potential is there. We just got to work with each other and support each other as a people. And I mean, maybe change some of the way we do things in our country. I mean, we got to learn to value what we have. We need to support each other. And I mean, I think this is the way to sustaining the peace and bringing the sustainable development in our country. And that is why we are grateful for this platform.
Thank you. One of the things that make what you do very much, encouraging is most of the time we watch TV and social media. What we hear from Liberia is mainly politics. Young people are in the street. I mean, there's nothing against political awareness, but from what we see is like that's all that they do. But if you look a little deeper, we see someone like you and we see Chap. Honestly, I never heard of Chap until I spoke with you.
Yeah.
So how can we hear more of these positive things that are going on in Liberia? What are you doing PR-wise and everything else?
I mean, this is one way. I mean, I don't know how to say thanks for this opportunity to you and Alex. And we're trying to get the word out. I mean, PRO in the country, to get on air on the country is challenging, it's expensive, but we're working around it to make sure that we get these good messages out for people to see and know that good things are happening in Liberia, and Liberians are taking ownership of their destiny. And one of the main areas is in the agricultural sector. So we're not telling you what we want to do, we're telling you what we are already doing. And we are asking you, can you help us just with your minimum $1 so we can grow more food, so we can be able to help ourselves, help us help ourselves. I think that is more sustainable than just waiting for free things. So you also, we'll count on you for ideas. We will need ideas how you think we can keep pushing this message out. Now that I know you, if I'm on the farm harvesting, we'll try to project and get information so you see the farmers, you talk to the farmers, and let the other people see them in the diaspora and know that Liberians are working with what God has given to them.
One of the issues has been accountability. That's why sometimes people are leery in supporting programs because they don't know where their money going. So what are some of the safeguards put in place that when I give you my $1, is going to be used for the purpose intended?
Call from.
Yes, hello?
We have a caller on the line, but what I was asking is, what are some of the financial safeguards? How can we be sure that money given to you and your organization is going to be used for the purpose intended?
Yeah, so what we have done over the years, we're still doing. We are striving very hard on this with the support of the board of directors of CHAP to make sure that we have compliance. So there are compliance measures we have in place. We got policies, financial policies on how funds are used and how they are accounted for. And we are also accountable. And we encourage that because that's the only way we improve as Liberians. So we are promoting accountability among ourselves and to those who we work with and those who entrust their resources with us. And that is how we are working on all of those issues. And we have implemented a project in the past. I mean, with the World Bank, there's no way we do that project with our controls. We have implemented for the IFAD programs, the Japanese government. We have been audited. We have taken concerns from the audits very serious because it's all about improving our system. So there are checks and balance in place. And we're not like people passing by, our names are there, and we are striving in every way to make sure that this, I mean, we bring dignity to Liberians in terms of their accountability and delivering. And that is, I think you heard from the people. You heard from the lady, she said, we did a previous project, and because they saw the work and how we did it, they took us onto it. So that's how we have been going over the period of time. People recommending us to see us, they give us someone seed money. We do more than what they give to us, and they get encouraged and they give more.
There's a caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Prince and Sharif, and I call you from Delaware today.
Oh, Prince, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Your question or comment?
Thank you very much. I have a concern. Let me first of all say thanks to Pastor Bimba for the job well done. I am a bit disappointed in especially Liberia. Like you said rightly, we have now politicized everything to the extent that the progress that we are making as a people, we have not seen it. There are a lot of progress that we are making, but unfortunately, we have shifted our mind to a name called president. So because of that, people like Pastor Bimba and other people who are striving to put Liberia on the map and infuse a sense of sanity, we are not seeing it. If you look today, you will see in terms of number, I know you are reaching thousands of people around the world. But if you look at the number on the screen, you will see, I know this is not the actual number anyway, because on many occasions I've seen it, but you will see the number 26. Right. I expected this place to be almost 10,000K or 10,000 people listening to this thing. But you see what has happened. The demon of politics has entered in the minds of Liberians that they themselves are making progress, but because that demon has taken over there, they are not seeing it. Look at people like Pastor Bimba. There is a brother who is doing what we call he's doing the fishery. I think he's breeding fish in Liberia. They are now producing tilapia. If I want to say tilapia for, we can move from Liberia and come to America and call it tilapia. That brother is producing fish in Liberia. The real wild one. The last time I was looking at it and seeing that brother producing fish, you will not believe it. Just from the pool. But you know what? Many of us are not interested in these things. We have now diluted our society to the extent that the progress that people are making, we are looking at politics and while others are moving. Pastor, what I want to say is that your effort is worth many efforts. And there's the reason why some of us will come on this platform to listen to people like you. That when we go our own platform, we can tell you while we discussing or while other people running beyond politics, other people are making millions of dollars or they are yet to become a billionaire. This, I am grateful that I'm on the line today with a millionaire or like a billionaire. Oh yes, I am grateful. This is our own Dangote in the agriculture sector. Pastor Bimba, you are our Dangote. And I pronounce this as a child of God upon your life in the name of the Almighty God. That you are the next Dangote in the agriculture sector of Liberia because you understand and you know the terrain, how you can be able to improve the life of Liberians. All I want to say that people that are listening to us, these are the initiatives we expect people in the Americas here in the United States. Let me be specific to undertake. You got people here who praying on their knees for the United Nations and America to put sanction on Liberia. No have to go there. But look at Pastor Bimba.
Prince.
Pastor Bimba is not in Nepal or Bhutan or Australia. He's right in Liberia.
Prince,
look at the progress that this young man is making. You think of those of us in the United States, all of the BB degree we get, all of the BB credential we get, if we put ourselves together, we can help Pastor Bimba. Today, do you know that Liberia is exporting cassava, my people? Let Pastor Bimba, if I'm lying, tell Pastor Bimba, if I'm lying, tell me. Liberia is now about to export what we call cassava to China. Can't we be able to do that right in Liberia and make sure that we face cassava out of so many things? For me, I'm from Great Markante. When I tell you cassava, my name is cassava. I know how to produce cassava and add value to it. I can change to 10 different things. Me, I'm from Great Markante and Lufa. My name is Sharif. But today, what are we doing? We will soon be exporting cassava. Within the next generation, we'll be crying, well, no cassava, and we'll go run beyond government. But what we are saying in short for me to learn all this is, Pastor Bimba, we are closely following you and we are following your activities. For the fact that you can take upon this initiative, especially as a man of God, I know how difficult it is in ministry and trying to impact life. But remember that we are with you, and I'm hoping and praying to even get your number so that we can also talk. I will call you at your convenience time so that we can also talk and see how best we can be of the help. If you call for me to raise money on my platform, I will be the first man to raise money. Pastor Bimba, I'm saying this to you, to send my own contribution to you because these are the things I want to see. We should not pollute our society with politics. Politics are not help us. The only thing that help us are technocrats, people like you that help us. People like you that are thinking beyond politics, that are thinking beyond religion, that are thinking beyond the personal aggrandizement. These are the kind of people that we need to support. Now people want to take people's money to lay a car and turn to war. So Pastor Bimba, thank you so much. And I want to say to my big brother thank you for giving me the opportunity to appear and talk to Liberia emerging millionaire in the agriculture sector. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prince. I said you were trying to bring politics in there too.
No, I'm bring politics.
All right.
But you know, my data is a political being.
But what everybody doing now?
The way we're doing it now is basta, it waste.
Okay.
To the extent that they think somebody want to bring politics in agenda. Somebody want to go for the people agree. The very last time the city people are passing, you were laughing. Or UP people are passing, you were laughing. Or AA people are passing, you were laughing.
Okay.
But this is what we need in Liberia and what we need to support. Thank you.
I appreciate your call. Thank you. Pastor Bimba, Prince, we'll say on you.
I'm telling you, I receive all the blessings. I receive all the prophetic word. But on a real sense, we will get that the wheels are turning. I mean, the word of mouth will get to other people, but we will continue to work. Thank God for people like you and others who coming on that we need to work together and grow our own food and help our people to work for themselves.
Okay, you talk about it. Let's go back to my farmers. I don't know when you're going to reach. It is because to change what people are used to for years is difficult.
Yeah.
What is the resistance you're getting from farmers that they don't want to change what they're doing? This is what they have been doing. And especially if you go to the Southeast, people need down to plant the rice. Hold on. Let me get this caller from the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Dennis. This is Danielle knuckles-guishard calling from Marietta, Georgia. How are you?
Great. Danielle is my co-host and she's off today. And Danielle, what's going on? How's Marietta?
Everything's good over here. I have two questions for the guests tonight. I may have missed it. I was a bit late.
Okay.
I wanted to know, one, what type of rice are you guys growing? I know there's a parboiled variety and red rice and brown rice and jasmine rice. So what variety are you all growing? And then also, is this rice cheaper than the imported rice since it's grown in Liberia?
Danielle is my co-host, so she's asking you as co-host now. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the questions and thank you for the interest, all right? So in terms of the variety, like I said, we growing Narika L19. So parboil is now a variety. Parboil is just one of the processing of the value chain. So parboil is not restricted to, so just you can parboil any rice. So parboiling is just one of the value added that you do to the rice. So the variety is Narika L19, one of those varieties that came out of the Africa Rice Research Center. And then we're doing the Swakoko 8, and then we're doing the Bada, which is the BTH 2, that is the black rice. So at the moment, we're trying to multiply more of that in terms of the price. Now, the price of the local rice at the moment, I got to give you the reality. At the moment, the price of the local rice is not the same with the imported rice. And there are a lot of factors for that. So what we are working on the rice investment scheme for empowerment is to make sure that we get rid of that gap, to make sure that the local rice competes, it becomes competitive with the imported rice in terms of price. All right, in terms of the quality and the packaging is what we are working on. So it's a whole process. So at the moment, we haven't got to the place of making the local rice the same as the imported rice price. Is what we are working on. That's why we launched the campaign, the dollar campaign, so we can be able to reduce that gap and make sure that the local rice is competitive in terms of the price, in terms of the quality, in terms of the packaging. And so it's a process and it's going on. And there where we are right now, if you ask about that.
So it means the local rice currently the price is higher.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
There's another question here. Is the SRI applicable to upland rice, rain-fed lowland, irrigated lowland, and floating rice?
Yeah, so the SRI is applicable to lowlands, to rain-fed areas. So this is how we're doing it, all right? So we also do on the upland. So there is a whole approach on the SRI. You can read on the page on the whole process. So also in the irrigated field, it's advantageous. I mean, it's just plus if you have an irrigated field, you can use the SRI. So what the SRI is promoting is it's a climate smart ecology, all right? So you don't need to use a lot of water because the notion over the years that you need the water is a rice is a water plant, you need a lot of water. But even if the soil is moist, you can equally so grow rice. So you don't need a lot of water to grow rice. So, and that is why even right now we emphasize more rice production in the dry season. If you see countries where you got higher yields, like Mali got the higher yield right now in West Africa, and that is attributed to the sun. So you got more sunlight, you got more photosynthesis occurring, and that's the time the rice will do better. And that is why we promote the dry season rice production more than just the rainy season, because in the rainy season, you attract more pests and disease onto the rice plants. And when the rice is pollinating, it shelters under the heavy rains. So we ask people on the uplands, yes, you can practice the XRI on the upland, and there's a way to do it. And people in the Southeast are already probably they do the dibbling, all right, the dibbling where they use that. So there have been some seeders. So we have some machines, some equipment that have been developed from the regional level, and they have been adapted to different ecologies that we use for the uplands, for the rainfall and the irrigated fields.
Let me ask about, because I saw the rice and then right there in Zuba town, how people don't steal it, because you have because right now, even those of us who try to get your little piece of land, you're not ready yet, you plant some garden, they say the Unos come and take it.
No, with the rice, they got processed. At the moment, they are not stealing it. It's the vegetable we have challenge with when we put the vegetable in. But the rice, no, they won't steal the rice right now, because you got to go and mill the rice and you have to process it. So they won't steal the rice at the moment. But if you bring people to harvest, since you do harvest, we're still doing harvest manual. We're trying to bring some small combined harvesters in. People who come to harvest, they help. You pay them, and they pay themselves with some bunches on the side, but seldomly.
I know, every system like the vegetables. Have you ever sent people to jail for stealing and those kind of things, or for corruption? Because you see, sometimes corruption, we look at it from the high level, but we don't look at the guy who is stealing the bitter balls and sometimes carrying the rice on the ground.
We haven't reached there, but it's a challenge. It's one of the challenges vegetable farmers and other people face. All right. Again, and that is why we are encouraging this culture. Yeah, it's a challenge. It is a challenge. I want to establish it as a challenge for some other crops, but not for the rice.
Do you work with schools as well? Because there are some schools that have farms, or how? Because especially in the interior, schools should be able to feed themselves. They should be able to make farms, and from that, do you have that on your radar to see how you can work with schools to be able to sustain themselves? You can sell the crops and buy chalk or supplies.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment we just few, but we have not gone into that fully. The reason that you need the resources to move around and work with the people to understand it. So what we have been encouraging people is, can we make use of your lands and come up with some good agreements? Because again, you don't want to go to use people, and some schools don't have a lot of space to grow food. Some schools have properties to grow food. But that's something, some of those initiatives are already going on by other people. The school garden projects, trying to put back the basics that were there in the 70s and the 80s, where people went and learned those things on campus and it became part of their life. That is missing today. You don't have that but it's coming back. We're trying to encourage people to grow food for the school gardens.
Who are some of your partners? Because you see, Bishop Maria said the only ship that has not gone to Liberia is partnership. Do you have other groups, organizations that you work with locally to do this?
Yeah, I mean, locally we work with the Liberia rice sector group. We also work with Kamara. Kamara is another rice producer in the country, Fabra. And then we also work with some technical groups that are providing some services, some agro dealers. We also work with them because it's a chain. One person can do it. And we're trying to promote more Liberians on and tell Liberians. We work with these different groups. And we work with some media houses. We work with some media group because you said something. How do we get this good news out is a challenge. And you need to pay for airtimes. You need to work on issues. So we're trying to really have access for something on agriculture persistently, constantly, that will help to revolutionize and change the mindset of our people.
Okay, well, we're about to draw down our curtains, But let me play again that song, Liberian Rice.
You like the song?
For the first time that I'll be here, it's on the market. The rest is yet to stay, man. For long, you have to see next.
At the end of the music, please prepare to give your final thoughts.
For the first time that I'll be here, you already know, it's on the market. The rest is yet to stay, man. For long, you have to see next. She said, I love it. Check it. Love you, love it. Now come on, eat away a story, where I'm poor, where you up to? Where you bring it on it, easy till I bring it for some let it meditate and let it know. No silly rest in the city. The rest sweet, yeah, I the protein. The main strong,
Liberian Rice.
Yes, Liberian rice, Liberian rice, Liberian rice. It's on the market. I want to say thank you to you. Yeah.
And please include what really you want us, especially in the diaspora, to do to help.
Great. So I want to say thanks to Focus on Liberia, and this opportunity is going to go a long way. We are grateful for it. We want to make an appeal to all of our brothers, our listeners, and those in the diaspora to join in the fight against hunger in Liberia. And the way to do it, we want you to support us with minimum $1. When we say minimum $1, is what we ask for people back home. You here, if you get above that, we highly appreciate that. And if you have a tractor, a small tractor, you have a small farm pickup, you have ideas. I mean, ideas how we can all partner together to improve on what we have already done. We highly welcome this, because it's hard times that we rally around each other and see our people come out of abject poverty. I strongly believe that we can grow our own rice. We can stop the importation of poverty, because every time we buy imported rice, we are importing poverty in Liberia, and we export our wealth in exchange for importing poverty. And I believe it's time that every well-meaning Liberian come on board and support us in the way you can, and we'll highly appreciate this. Visit us our field, put in your orders for rice for your families back home, and tell us I need 100 bags every month, and we give you the price. We come up with the agreements. So when you send that money stays in the economy, because so many people benefit. The farmer benefit, the transporter benefit, the warehouse person benefit, the producer, the processor all benefit. So appealing to you to support it financially, talk about it to your friends, and maybe some of you know people who are interested to come along and volunteer your services. We appreciate that. So the contact will be displayed, the number. We got a contact in the US, in New York, where you can send your help. If your PayPal account is there, and you can also make a call there. In Liberia, we have an account with LBDI, both US dollars and Liberian dollars, that you can also support. But we want you on board on this I Love Liberian Rice. It's our prayer. I mean, we have worked hard, and we can't afford for all of our work to be spoiled. We want you to please come on board to help us make sure we grow this rice and provide jobs for 5,000 persons just from the 1,000 hectares of land that is available to produce rice.
Thank you so much, Pastor Bimba, for the time. We really appreciate what you are doing in Liberia, because the former Nigerian president said, when agriculture goes wrong, everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Food security, that's very, very important. And we have to change our mindset so that we can grow food, trying to drink soft drink and all those things, if we have real organic food right there,
Real one, you got it.
from the soil, and you get all the nutrients, that's very, very important. I want to say thank you to all our callers and all those who contributed, those that are watching. Without you, we can't carry on the show. This Sunday is going to be a big one. We are inviting 3 of the talk show hosts, including Prince Sherry, who just called. It will be on Focus on Liberia this Sunday to talk about everything concerning Liberia. That will be Mr. Josh Lobo, who has his own talk show, Jessica Jare, aka Lady J, and also Prince Sharif. His talk show host will be here. And maybe Pastor Bimba, your name may come up.
Yeah. You might talk about rice. I mean, you can't end the show without rice.
Right. I mean, we have talked a lot. The rice business have taken off so much. 1979 rice was about rice and rights. And we need to get a grip on rice.
We need to.
I think things will go much, much better. What's the planting distance for rice?
So it's 25 by 25 cm.
Okay, so I don't know if my people in Dominica know that.
Your people there, they know that because a lot of training is going on. Is the adaptation for some people that takes time, but they're seeing it with the results.
I appreciate it when you go back to Zubatown or we are here. We want to see, we'll follow you and see what you're doing. If you have, please give us a call and we won't hesitate to showcase what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Our goal here is to elevate, to educate, and promote all things Liberia.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I want to say once again, thank you, everyone, and good night, and God bless you.